Good morning, everyone. We will now call to order the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors meeting for Tuesday, February 10th. Would the clerk please call the roll and establish a quorum?
Certainly. Supervisor Cerna. Here. Supervisor Kennedy. Here. Supervisor Desmond. Here. Vice Chair Hume. Here. And Chair Rodriguez.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Will the clerk please read the cable statement?
This meeting of the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors is live and recorded with closed captioning. It is cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the local government affairs channel, on the Comcast and DirecTV UVerse cable systems. It is also live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Friday, February 13th at 6 o'clock p.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14. Once posted, the recording of this meeting can be viewed on demand at youtube.com/MetroCable14. The Board of Supervisors fosters public engagement during the meeting and encourages public participation, civility, and the use of courteous language. The Board does not condone the use of profanity, vulgar language, gestures, or other inappropriate behavior, including personal attacks or threats, directed towards any meeting participant. Seating is limited and available on a first-come, first-served basis. Each speaker will be given 2 minutes to make a public comment and are limited to making one comment per off-agenda item. Please be mindful of the public comment procedures to avoid being interrupted while making your comment. Comments made by the public during Board of Supervisors meetings may include information that could be inaccurate or misleading, particularly concerning topics related to public health, voter registrations, and elections. The County of Sacramento does not endorse or validate the accuracy of public statements made during these open public forums. The recordings are shared to provide transparency and access to the proceedings of the public meeting. To make a comment in person, please fill out a speaker request form and hand it to clerk staff. The chairperson will open public comments for each off-agenda item and direct the clerk to call the name of each speaker. When the clerk calls your name, please come to the podium and make your comment. If a speaker is unavailable to make a comment prior to the closing of public comments, the speaker waives their request to speak and the clerk will file the speaker request form into the record. The clerk will manage the timer and allow each speaker 2 minutes to make a comment. Off-agenda public comments will take place for a maximum of 30 minutes. The remainder of the agenda comments will take place at the conclusion of the timed matters in the afternoon. As a reminder, Rule of Procedure 10B allows the chair to establish uniform time limits for people addressing the board in relation to a particular matter. Such limits may be announced at the beginning of each matter posted on the agenda and can include setting a specific amount of time devoted to public comment for a particular item, announcing cutoff times for receipt of a request to speak form, reducing the amount of time per speaker, or other reasonable and content-neutral measures. You may send written comments by email to boardclerk@saccounty.gov. Your comment will be routed to the board and filed in the record. If you need an accommodation pursuant to the Americans with Disabilities Act or for medical or other reasons, please see clerk staff for assistance or contact the clerk's office at 916-874-5451 or by email at boardclerk@saccounty.gov. Thank you in advance for your courtesy and understanding of the meeting procedures.
Thank you, Todd. Let us stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, would the clerk please call the first item?
Our first item on today's agenda is public comments relating to matters not on the posted agenda, and we do have several speakers signed up. First of which is Marvel Wilson.
You pronounced it Marvel, which yes. Good morning.
Good morning. Is that how you pronounce it?
Say again, please.
Is that how you pronounce it?
No, it's Marvel.
Marvel.
Yeah,
okay. Good morning, Marvel.
I can't withstand the superhero pressure.
Awesome.
Because I'll let you down, to be honest with you. Okay, so I'm glad we got an opportunity to address what we're here to do is find out about the TOT which was referred to us a couple of years ago, and I did some research, and we kind of got lost in the translation. So now we're here to find out, number one, is that actually a grant, is there some reimbursement attached to that? Because we had the misinterpretation that there's some sort of reimbursement attached to this grant. There is. Okay, so now we're curious to know, why is it called a grant? If that's the case, because we're a community-based organization known as Hooked on Fishing, Not on Violence, and we have been doing this work diligently for years, and now we're appealing to some outside resources. And thus far, we keep running the dead ends, and now this is another dead end. If we were talking about, we have to raise funds to a lot to get things done, and then you will, I don't know, you give us funds and then we pay you back. Is that how it goes?
No, that's not how it works. But if you want information, we can connect you with someone who can give you more details. The deadline was extended to the 14th, so you have until Saturday. Is it? Yes.
Supervisor, we can take Mr. Wilson's comments and look into the details, because I'm not exactly sure what organization he represents. So
Hooked on Fishing, Not on Violence.
fishing. Okay. We can, because I think that was something we did last. Well, let us look into it a little bit more and meet with him after this meeting.
Sounds good.
Shay.
All right. Thank you for the information, Marvell.
All
Madam
right,
Chair?
thank you.
Oh, yes.
So, thank you.
Yes.
I believe our district has worked with your organization before to provide you some support. It may have been TOT funding. Where do you have a physical location?
Yes, we do.
Whereabouts is it? You don't. I mean, is it in the city of Sacramento?
City of Sacramento, correct.
Okay, I believe you're kind of doing a lot of the work in the district I represent, and probably the district that Supervisor Kennedy represents. In addition to whatever assistance the county executive just mentioned, please reach out to my staff, and we can help you clarify whatever questions you may have regarding TOT. There's a lot of moving parts to it. They're kind of two different tracks you can take in terms of how to compete for TOT. But if you do that, and alongside with what Mr. Villanueva has suggested, I think we can help you out.
All right.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
also, just be aware too that because you're speaking on off-agenda matters, we can't really go into much more detail than I've already explained here to try and help you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for that. And we'll have a chat.
And our next public speaker is Joseph Tanner.
Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Madam Chairman and gentlemen. The only reason that myself and Mr. Wilson are here is to clarify the fact that Hooked on Fishing, Not on Violence has been in operation for a number of years already within the communities. Both supervisors in the District 1 and 2 do know of our work. We're here to clarify. And Chairman Rodriguez, we're only here to clarify just exactly what the language is, because it seems to be a little confusing. So that clarity is definitely needed, and Mr. Villanueva definitely will be in contact with you because we do want some clarity. I hope that as we conclude, as this business concludes itself, that we'll have some sort of positive outlook and positive turn. Joseph Tanner, thank you.
Thank you, Joseph.
And our next public speaker is Daniela Barrera Barajas.
We're going to go together. Is that still okay?
This is Isamar.
I'm on the next agenda item. We're going to do it together within 2 minutes. Is that fine? Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Isa Morfin, and go ahead.
And I'm Daniela Barrera Barajas.
And we are both mental health therapists at UC Davis. We are here today as private citizens, and our views do not represent UC. We work in conjunction with the UC Davis Child and Adolescent Abuse Resource and Evaluation Center, also known as the CARE Center. The CARE Center provides counseling for victims of crime, sex trafficking and exploitation, as well as abused, neglected, and high-risk youth. The CARE Center is largely funded through contracts awarded by your Behavioral Health Committee. Last month, the CARE Center was suddenly informed that the Sacramento County contract was not going to be granted. This county contract has been in place since 1999.
Last week, we learned that the contract will now continue for one more year. There is a lot of confusion in regards to funding and service stability. This makes it almost impossible to create treatment plans. It undermines clients' ability to let themselves develop relationships fully. You need time to build rapport. How are these at-risk populations supposed to build trust with clinicians if they can't count on you to fund our program consistently? We help people and save lives in the works that we do. We have the data to show it. If we can't consistently fund our programs, staff can't plan for their futures, meaning high rates of turnover. Beyond that, clients can't let themselves trust therapists if every year they worry about it being shut down. As the board, you can prioritize mental health treatment for children and families. You can instruct the committee to prioritize specialty programs. Please help clinicians, help Sacramento youth and families. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.
I have a Supervisor Serna in the queue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for being here and providing your testimony. What I would like to propose is, Siobhan, if you could give me and my chief a quick briefing, maybe as early as after this meeting, in terms of the subject matter that the two speakers have alluded to, and we will commit through my office to work back through Siobhan to answer any questions you might have or give you a better understanding of what's at issue relative to, again, the concern that you've expressed here today. So I just didn't want you to think that you would speak here and not have any follow-up. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, have a nice day.
Thank you.
And our next speaker is Chris Bennett.
Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. So I'm Chris Bennett. I'm running for Congress in the 3rd District, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the Child Abuse Assessment Resource and Evaluation Center. Now, they were able to receive another year of funding, but I really want to urge the Board of Supervisors to prioritize this program. As we've been seeing, right now, people from across the world have been completely unaccountable for committing horrific acts of violence against children and doing human trafficking and sexual violence. And we need to make sure that we have the resources necessary to address these very real problems. And we also have the problem where the middle class has been dwindling at ever-increasing rates alongside union declines in membership. So please continue to fund the CARE Center. Please make sure that the Behavioral Health Committee understands that this is extremely important and that we need to keep making sure that we're taking care of our children and our families. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have no additional speakers.
Okay, so will the clerk please call the next item?
The next item on our calendar is the consent items. Those are items 2 through 15 on our agenda, and I have a few notes to read into the record. First off, we have consent calendar item number 8, adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 6.2, Title 6 of the Sacramento County Code that is relating to solid waste management. We have waived the full reading and continued this matter from January 27th, 2026. It was item number 20 on the agenda. For consent calendar item number 9, we are adopting an update to the Sacramento County Water Agency fee plans and engineers report for zones 11A, B, C, W, and N, and introduce an ordinance amending Schedule D of Title II of the Sacramento County Water Agency Code. We are waiving the full reading and continuing to February 24th, 2026 for adoption. Also, we did publish an addendum item with one consent calendar item. That is the Cosumnes Fire Department Ordinance, adoption of findings denying proposed Cosumnes Fire Department Ordinance number 23. I would also like to note, as a correction to the board letter references a 3-2 vote for approval on January 27th. Those references should be updated to recognize the 4-1 vote for approval. And those are all the notes on the consent calendar.
Thank you. Any comments or anybody would like to? Oh, there we go. Supervisor Hume.
Thank you, Chair. I just have a question procedurally for the addenda item. Will we be hearing that separately, or is it incorporated as a part of the consent calendar?
It's incorporated as part of the consent calendar.
Would you register me as a no on that particular item then?
Will do.
Thank you.
Supervisor Cerna.
Thanks, Chair. Please, for the record, show that I'm abstaining on item 6.
Item 6.
Thank you.
All right, are there any public comments?
We have no one signed up for consent calendar.
Okay. I will entertain a motion. I'll second them. Okay, would the clerk please call for the vote?
And the consent calendar passes 5-0.
All right, would the clerk please call the next item?
All right. And the next, we will be taking item number 21. Those are the nominations. So we will be continuing the following nominations to February 24th, 2026. The Adult and Aging Commission, the Antelope Community Planning Advisory Council, the Arden Arcade Community Planning Advisory Council, Cordova Community Planning Advisory Council, Cosumnes Area Community Planning Advisory Council, Developmental Disabilities Planning and Advisory Council, In-Home Supportive Services Advisory Committee, Sacramento County Commission on the Status of Women and Girls. And the following committee nominations will be continued to March 10th. Those include the Cemetery Advisory Committee, Equal Employment Opportunity Advisory Committee, Fair Oaks Community Planning Advisory Council, North Highlands Community Planning Advisory Council, South Sacramento Area Community Planning Advisory Council. And this next set of bodies will be continued to March 24th, 2026. Those include Foothill Farms Community Planning Advisory Council, Orangevale Community Planning Advisory Council, Sacramento County Behavioral Health Commission, Sacramento County Behavioral Health Youth Advisory Board, Sacramento County Treasury Oversight Committee, Sacramento County Youth Commission, and the Vineyard Community Planning Advisory Council. Which brings us to today's nominations. First up, we have the Carmichael Community Planning Advisory Council. There are 2 District 3 nominations.
Please reappoint Rayburn Leno and continue the remainder to March 10th.
Will do. Thank you very much. And next, we have the Children's Coalition. There are 24 seats.
On this one, Chiefs recommend nominating Christopher Orr and continue the remaining to February 24th.
Thank you very much. Then we have the County Planning Commission. There are 2 seats. There is 1 District 1 nomination, no applicants. And then there is 1 District 3 nomination.
For District 1, please continue to March 10th.
For District 3, please continue to February 24th.
Thank you very much. Then we have the Galt Arno Cemetery District. There is 1 nomination, 1 District 5 nomination.
Please continue to February 24th.
Thank you. We have the Health and Human Services Coordinating Council. There are 9 community member seats, 1 District 1 nomination.
Please continue to March 10th.
Thank you. 2 District 3 nominations.
Please nominate Ziggy Robeson and Bryce Allred.
Thank you very much. The Law Library Board of Trustees. There is 1 member of the bar seat.
Chiefs recommend reappointing June Coleman.
Thank you. And the Public Health Advisory Board. There are 4 seats.
Chiefs recommend nominating Johnny Vang. And Chiefs recommend reappointing Stacy Anderson, Michael Lee Chang, and Samantha Rapp.
Thank you very much. Then we have the Rio Linda Alberta Community Planning Advisory Council. There are 2 District 4 nominations.
I have here Chiefs recommending reappointing of Shannon McGowan and Nathaniel Royer.
All right. Thank you for that. And we have the Veterans Advisory Commission. There are 5 seats, 1 District 1 nomination.
District 1, please continue to March 10th.
Thank you very much. We have 1 District 2 nomination.
Please reappoint Max Baumgartner.
Thank you very much. We have 1 District 3 nomination.
Please reappoint Matthew Ciccato.
Thank you very much. We have 1 District 4 nomination.
Nominate Ben Lehr, L-E-H-R.
Thank you. And 1 District 5 nomination.
Please reappoint Austin Ashe.
Thank you very much. And just double checking one thing here. Yep. All right. And that will conclude our nominations for today. So we have 5 hearings scheduled for 10 o'clock. Either we take a break or we hear some county executive comments, but typically we do that at the end, so however the chair would like to handle it.
Let's go ahead and take a break until 10 a.m.
All right, thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. We will now resume the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors meeting. Would the clerk please call the next item? Oh, actually, can I just make a comment? On Health and Human Services Coordinating Council, District 4 will continue to February 24th.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, next item on our agenda is item number 16. This is the public hearing on the benefit category change and levy of increased service charges for the Winding Ranch subdivision.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Dawn Pimentel with County Engineering. The Winding Ranch subdivision is situated on the south side of Winding Way, approximately 200 feet east of Manzanita Avenue. The development consists of 79 single-family lots, a detention basin, miscellaneous access and landscape lots, and associated site improvements. This project was approved on August 20th of 2024. Required prior to the final map recordation, the project proponents submitted an application to initiate the benefit category change process. Following that submission, a notice and Proposition 218 protest ballot was sent to the property owner on December 23, 2025. Currently, the project's existing parcel is in the safety light only category with an annual assessment of $2.56. Upon changing to the enhanced street and safety light residential and non-residential categories, the annual service charge will increase to approximately $5,700.96 for the project. If the board has no questions, staff recommends opening the public hearing, receiving written and oral testimony along with any objections or protests, close the public hearing, and then direct the clerk to tabulate the return protest ballot.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff? No questions. I will now open the public hearing. Clerk, has anyone signed up to speak on this item?
We have no requests to speak.
Okay, great. I will now close the public hearing. Will the clerk please tabulate the ballots?
The clerk's office has received 1 protest ballot, D.R. Horton, CA2, Inc., and this ballot for 590 Winding Way is marked yes and is signed and dated.
Okay, will the staff please read the fill-ins?
Thank you. Without the majority protest, in Section 2, at the close of the hearing, the board received 0 written protests. In Section 3, at the close of the tabulation, the board received 1 protest ballot, totaling 100% of the total service charges to be levied, of which 100% was in favor of the benefit category and 0% were in opposition.
Thank you. Okay.
I move to approve the reso and adopt the benefit category change.
All right, please vote.
item 16 passes unanimously, 5-0.
All right, will the clerk please call the next item?
The next item on our agenda is item 17. This is a public hearing to establish a service charge within the North Vineyard Greens Unit 3, Unit 11, and Unit 11 West subdivisions.
Good morning again.
Thank you. It's me again. For North Vineyard Greens Unit 3, 11, and 11 West subdivisions, they are located on the northeast and northwest corners of the intersection of Waterman Road and Gerber Road. To comply with the rezone conditions of approval, the property owners of the subdivision have requested that the county establish the CSA 10 Zone 3 service charge for their developments. These charges provide extended transportation-related services that can reduce vehicle trips within new urban growth areas. In response to the owner's request, a notice and protest ballot were mailed to the property owner on December 23, 2025. This item proposes the levy of an annual service charge of $131.54 per single-family residential lot for 92 single-family units. If there are no questions from the board, we recommend the board open the public hearing, consider any written and oral testimonies, objections, or protests, close the public hearing, and then direct the clerk to tabulate the return protest ballot.
All right, I will now open the public hearing. Clerk, has anyone signed up to speak on this item?
We have had no requests to speak on this item.
All right, I will now close the public hearing. Will the clerk please tabulate the ballots?
The clerk's office has received one protest ballot for county service area number 10, site address Waterman Road and Gerber Road, Sacramento. The ballot is marked yes and is signed and dated.
Thank you. Will the staff please read the fill-ins?
Thank you. At the close of the tabulation, the board received 0 oral and written protests. In Section 3, at the close of the tabulation, the board received 1 protest ballot totaling 100% of the total amount to be levied, of which 100% was in favor of the service charge, and 0% were in opposition.
All right. I will entertain, do you have a request to speak? Supervisor Cerna?
Thank you, Madam Chair. If there are no questions by my colleagues, I'd move approval of the item.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please vote.
And item 17 passes unanimously, 5-0.
All right, thank you. Will the clerk please call the next item?
The next item on our agenda today is 18, Power Family Inn, authorizing the bond insurance and conditional loan commitment with resources for community development in the amount of $2.5 million.
Good morning, Christine.
Good morning. Christine Weichert, SHRA. Staff's requesting approval to issue tax-exempt mortgage revenue bonds and a commitment of $2.5 million in home funds to the Power Inn Family Project. Power Inn Family is a new construction project located on Power Inn near Calvine Road, which will serve households earning between 30% and 60% of area median income. The 5-story development consists of 73 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units, and the project will feature amenities such as play structure, service space, laundry facilities, and a community room. The developer is currently applying for $24 million in affordable housing and sustainable communities funds. Other funding sources include low-income housing tax credits, a deferred developer fee, and developer equity. The developer is Resources for Community Development. They have been building affordable housing for over 40 years, but this is their first project in Sacramento. Staff has approved the John Stewart Company as the property manager, and Life Steps will provide a minimum of 20 hours of on-site resident services, including after-school programs. In closing, staff's requesting approval of the issuance of bonds and $2.5 million home loan for the Power Inn Family Project, and is available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Christine. Supervisor Hume?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Christine. I just have a quick question regarding the entitlements for the project. Does this project slide in under, say, SB 79 or something where it kind of removes local land use control?
I believe it does. Maybe I can get some help from county staff, but this project is now, since they're applying for their AHSC entitlements, I don't funding. I don't believe they have to have their entitlements yet, so they haven't gotten to the point that often we come before you with projects that do have their entitlements already. This one I'm not sure about, but we can get back to you unless, Dave, you have any?
I don't know off the top of my head, so we'd have to get back to you.
Okay. And the only reason why I ask is I imagine this is something that is going to come before us more frequently.
Yes.
Where you have a 5-story building in an area where there are no other 5-story buildings. The only building, I think, over 1 story, 2 stories, other than maybe a couple houses, is the Fairfield Inn Hotel. So, you know, I think there's some sensitivity that I certainly have of what fits the neighborhood. And so I'm not opposed to the project per se. I'm certainly not opposed to extending tax credits and a loan amount. But again, it's because this is the last piece of undeveloped property within this area, we have a pretty good idea of what the surrounding uses are going to be.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Supervisor Kennedy?
Yeah, thank you, and thank you, Supervisor Hume. Yeah, this is not necessarily this project has been something we've been working on for a long time, but this lot is something that we've been working on and trying to get something, particularly housing there for quite a while, and to have something that fits in, you know, where it is adjacent to commercial and all of that. I think that this is a highly appropriate use for this lot. I thank SHRA for continually trying to get something here. As I said, we have been for the 11 years I've been here. And I also welcome the fact that we're bringing in a new developer. That's always good to continue to grow our pool of developers we're working with who specialize and have a history as this one does. So thanks to you, Christine, and staff for your tenacity, and I think this is going to be a very good addition to that area there, and also meet the needs that we have in South Sacramento for affordable housing. Thank you.
All right, are there, thank you, Christine. Are there any requests to speak on this item?
None.
Move approval.
Second.
All right, please vote. Thank you, Christine.
Item 18 on our agenda passes unanimously 5-0.
All right, would the clerk please call the next item?
The next item on our agenda is 19, Resolution of Necessity Authorizing Eminent Domain Actions to Acquire Real Property.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Chair Rodriguez and all other members of the board. I'm Peter Hannon, Program Manager with the Real Estate Division, and I'm here today to introduce this item, which recommends board approval for 3 resolutions of necessity authorizing eminent domain actions to acquire real property interests for the Department of Transportation's Wide-Away sidewalk infill project. Before I begin my presentation, there have been some recent developments on one of the resolutions. Item number 3 for Paula C. Noonan as trustor and trustee at 2376 Wide-Away. This owner has signed the necessary acquisition documents, and the county has fully executed those. Therefore, I would ask that the board drop this resolution number 3 for Paula C. Noonan. Okay, the Wide-Away sidewalk infill project consists of the construction of curb, gutter, sidewalk, accessible curb ramps, minor storm drainage alterations, and installation of streetlights. The project will construct sidewalk on the south side of Wide-Away between Markston Road and Jaron Place. The project will also construct new sidewalk along the north side of Wida from Jaron Place to approximately 180 feet east of Wright Street. Of the 10 necessary acquisitions required for the project, 2 are the subject of this board item. At this time, I'd like to display attachment 3 to this resolution necessity hearing, which is the list of properties. And the list of properties, the individual properties, let me straighten this out. The individual properties' necessary easements and corresponding easement areas are shown in square feet. Number 1, Trung Nguyen, a married man located at 2372 Wide-Away, APN 278-0230-021. The real property interest the county seeks to acquire consists of an easement for public roadway and public utilities, and an easement for public utilities and public facilities and an easement, temporary construction easement. The real property interest the county seeks to acquire for an easement of public interest, public utilities and public facilities, and an easement for public utilities. The second one, Bill Lobner, trustee of the Bill Lobner Family Trust, located at 2419 Wide Way, assessor's parcel number 278-0210-012. The real property interest the county seeks to acquire consists of an easement for public roadway and public utilities, an easement for public utilities and public facilities, and an easement for temporary construction. Again, we're dropping number 3. The county obtained appraisals for the affected properties from an independent appraiser and presented offers to the property owners for the purchase of the easement interest I mentioned in attachment 3. County's negotiations with these owners have reached impasse as detailed in attachment 4, the history of owner contacts. The county is thus unable to secure the necessary easement interest on the subject properties under the current circumstances. Today's resolution of necessity and anticipated eminent domain actions will provide for possession of the real property interest and construction of the project while the county proceeds to acquire the easements through eminent domain as necessary. Information to support the required statutory resolution of necessity findings is contained within the staff report included with the agenda packet, along with owner contact histories. Notice of intention to seek approval for the resolution necessity was mailed to the property owners by registered mail and standard U.S. mail at least 15 days before today's hearing. If you have any questions regarding the project or any of the properties in question, I or other project team members currently present are available to address those questions for you.
Thank you, Peter. I do have a couple of supervisors in the queue. Supervisor Cerna?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the staff report. First of all, let me just say, I'll state the obvious here, but this board does not take RONs for the authorization of eminent domain lightly, almost in any circumstance. Looking through the history of owner contacts, which you just referenced, I note that the third attempt, I'll call it, dated 9/18/25. This follows initial contact 7 months earlier. It suggests that the occupant, who is apparently married to the property owner, is a Spanish speaker only. Which I thought was interesting because it's something I've really not encountered relative to these histories when they've come up in the past. Obviously, this is an important subject for all parties, but I'd like to understand a little bit better, and maybe County Council can also help in terms of what efforts do we apply when we understand that any party, even a conveying party, in this case, someone that's married to the property owner, is not speaking English as the principal language. What do we do to go over and above to make sure that the property owner, or maybe even the property owner's surrogate, is receiving written notices, in-person attempts to communicate orally in the language that they are conversant in? And a question for County Council, is there anything in statute that says upon learning of someone who is obviously involved in making sure that they understand what the county is doing relative to application of eminent domain authority, that we, at a minimum, attempt to communicate written and orally in a language other than English?
Good
morning, Deputy County Counsel Keith Floyd. I work on eminent domain matters on behalf of the county. There is nothing in the statute that requires outreach to English second language or someone who is not conversant in English. However, we've had cases in the past with individuals, Vietnamese individuals, people that speak Spanish, that have not initially responded to outreach by the real estate department, and we've filed eminent domain actions. We've found friends that or neighbors, children that we've reached out to that have different addresses through our search methods. If the action is filed, if we get to the point where we have to file the action, the summons is in English and Spanish. We'll have a letter translated. I put a cover letter with an action that gets filed, especially on it was cases where it's a homeowner, to explain the process to them. In this instance, if it gets that far, I will have a letter that's translated into Spanish. The owner, the property owner, the individual that's on title, I believe is of Vietnamese descent. If necessary, we'll have someone either from the county, if we need to go outside, to provide a translation for that purpose. We will certainly do that. We've never had an instance where we've taken a default of someone because they weren't responsive and we were aware that they didn't speak English as their primary language.
Okay. Thank you for that explanation, Keith. So it sounds to me like you said at the outset, obviously there's no state statute that governs it. But it also sounds to me like we don't have a policy. Is that correct?
There's no written policy.
Okay.
No.
So because
there's a practice.
No, I understand. So what left me with that conclusion that there's no policy is in citing your what you just mentioned, the example you just mentioned about, well, we'll go to their friends to try and get some translation, or that feels icky to me. That feels like, wow, that begs for at least some policy guidance about how we treat property owners or their representatives who do not speak English. So what I would like to propose, based on kind of what you just explained, Keith, and what I'm reading here in the history of owner contacts, and let me just stop here and just say, I'm not accusing anyone, our staff, anyone who may think I'm bringing this up to condemn how we've done it in the past. It sounds like we actually go over and above, but it also sounds like it's very ad hoc. And that's the part that doesn't feel comfortable to me. So I'd like to have, and I'm looking to our county executive, I'd like to have a conversation one-on-one with you, Mr. Villanueva. Maybe have county council representation in the meeting to understand how we might put a policy on this, something as important as RONs. That just gives us gives staff, I think it's actually helpful for staff, it'll give them kind of the understanding of the expectation, should the board approve a policy, that the board expects when we are seeking to condemn property for public purpose. So let's have that conversation, see where it leads. But if necessary, based on what we kind of jointly conclude from that meeting, then I would like to entertain the prospect of maybe bringing a policy to the board that simply spells out how the steps that staff would necessarily go through, including using our own very capable our own staff, whether they be county counsel's office or real estate, who are bilingual. We shouldn't have to rely on friends or neighbors. That doesn't feel good to me. So I want to have that conversation, and it may bear the fruit of bringing a policy back to this board for consideration.
Absolutely, Supervisor Cerna. We'll reach out to your office and set some time up.
Very good. Thank you.
I think we can develop a notice that would be, when we have an individual as a Spanish surname or whatever it might be, that would just be generic, just to let them know what the action is, and a phone number that they can contact, and then go from there, just as a starting point.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Keith. That might be a great and appropriate starting point, but then what's the next step, right? The next step would be giving them options in terms of translation in terms of do you want to have any future communication relative to this this action in English or in Spanish or in Hmong or in whatever. That's the part where I think it actually, I think greatly would benefit staff, because they can then kind of look at the policy and say, okay, what is our next step, and versus trying to rely on, hopefully there's someone that knows them that can speak their native language. That's the part that I just don't feel comfortable kind of leaving to chance. So that's the point of my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Supervisor Desmond?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Supervisor Cerna. I did want to follow up a little bit on Mr. Nguyen, and you delved into this in some detail. But what other avenues did we pursue to try to find out anything about him?
Yes.
Do we know? Is he currently still a resident of Sacramento County? I mean,
yes. I've personally been out twice to the property with the real estate officer who's assigned to it, and the conversation that we had with Mrs. Nguyen was essentially her husband works a lot. We got a contact phone number from Mr. Nguyen.
But you have a high level of confidence that you are indirectly, at least, in contact with him.
Correct.
Okay.
And I would draw our attention to the history of owner contacts on the December 22 entry 2025. The real estate division did put together a letter written in Spanish, hand-delivered and received by Mrs. Nguyen. Again, that has led nowhere, no additional contact subsequent to that letter. So we've had some additional efforts, more than our typical outreach for this particular property owner.
Thank you. It did strike me as well, though, that we didn't, seeing Mr. Nguyen has a, seemingly Vietnamese surname, that there was.
Yes, we've the information we get from the property owner's wife is that he works a lot, and county staff traditionally don't go out on weekends and such to try
Which house is his? I'm familiar, very, very familiar with this right-of-way project.
Yes.
Didn't think it would be this difficult or take so long, of course. Which house is it of the three houses right there on that north side of White House?
He's right next door to the one we dismissed earlier for Mrs. Noonan, and he's across, like kind of kitty corner from the other one, the Loppinger property.
So that's not the one that is, I see Steve White there. That's not the one with the solid wood fence in the front? Okay.
No, correct. Okay, Supervisor doesn't.
Okay, and it seems like with property number 2, we're just at the point we're in contact with that trustee directly and just talking about price at this point.
Yes, we've actually made a fair amount of headway with the negotiations. We just have not yet received final approval from the owner on the acquisition document. I do anticipate that will be forthcoming. So we will continue to work with the property owner, as we always do, post-resolution necessity, to try and work out something. And we believe we're in good shape with the Loppinger property.
Thank you, and I will reiterate what Supervisor Cerna said at the outset of his comments, that we don't take approving these RONs lightly. And Steve is dying to say something, so please.
Thank you, Supervisor Desmond. Just to Supervisor Cerna's point earlier, it does feel a little willy-nilly, ad hoc, if you will. I just want to reassure the board that the Department of Transportation always makes a good faith effort, and our common practice is, but we have a diverse staff, and we have Spanish speakers,
Sure.
Vietnamese speakers. So we have, on many occasions, had staff come out to translate with a lot of success.
No, and thank you, Keith. And thank you, Supervisor Desmond, for your comments and letting me jump in here. I don't make my suggestion accusing anyone at all. I think I'm really proud of our staff, because they have the innate understanding, I think, that, okay, someone's introduced the fact that they have limited English speaking ability, so you're going to make adjustments as necessary. But, like, for instance, what was just mentioned about the letter sent on the certified letter on 12/22/25, I would just go back to exactly a year prior, almost a year prior, 9/22/25, where it just says REO left voice message for PO's phone. I don't know from this Okay, so this is following the fact that there was an in-person encounter with someone that doesn't speak English. So was the phone message left in both English and Spanish? I don't know.
I'm almost certain it was not.
Okay, so that's my point.
Yeah, it is a good point. It has been very ad
Right.
hoc, and I think I would agree with council that coming back with a formal policy it would be good practice.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Madam Clerk, if there's no public comment, I will move approval of the first and second resolutions.
Second.
There is no public comment.
All right, please vote. Will the clerk please call the next item?
Well, that was for item 1 on this one, and that passed 5-0. And we still have.
Oh, that's right. We're
item
going to
2.
do these separate.
Yep.
So, so the motion was a general one. Do we need to?
Oh, thank you for that. I'll look to.
We're going to
I'm
do
sorry,
these
my
separate.
We're comfortable
mistake.
with one on both?
Can you make them for both? I mean, individual.
Individual. Okay, so I'll withdraw my prior motion that we already voted on.
Second, we'll withdraw.
Approval of resolution number 1 relating to Mr. Nguyen's property.
Second.
All right, please vote. Next item.
Thank you for that, everybody. And
Then I'll move approval of the resolution relating to the Lobinger property.
Second.
Number 2.
Please vote.
touch screen is not responding. Hold on one second here.
And Supervisor Desmond, could you also make a motion to drop number 3?
All right.
And I will.
For number 2, that is 5-0, passes unanimously. Thank you.
And if you need another motion, I'll move to drop the proposed resolution number 3 relating to Nuna property.
Please vote.
Thank you.
And that item is dropped.
Can we get a
5-0.
policy on how we have to do the motions too? Incorporate that?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Board.
Clerk, next item.
Certainly. The next item on our agenda today is number 20. That is the St. Thomas Estates rezone tentative subdivision map and design review for a property located east of Gardner Avenue and 0.2 miles south of Florin.
Good morning. Good morning, Emma.
Good morning, Supervisors. Chair Rodriguez. Emma Carrico, you know me by now, Associate Planner and Project Manager for the St. Thomas Estates project. The project site is a 5.5-acre undeveloped parcel located on the east side of Gardner Avenue in the South Sacramento community. It is characterized by predominantly non-native grassland with no trees or water resources. Subject parcel is located within the Florin Vineyard Community Plan, which designates it for residential 3 to 5 development. It is currently split zoned, with the western 2 acres being agricultural residential 5 and the eastern 3.5 acres being residential 5. Surrounding land uses consist of single-family residential to the north, south, and east, and agricultural residential to the west. The eastern portion of the parcel was previously a part of the Gardner Park subdivision project, which was approved by the board on July 16, 2013, and included a rezone and tentative subdivision map. The property owner chose not to participate in subsequent time extensions for the tentative subdivision map, and on August 8, 2016, Planning and Environmental Review issued a substantial compliance determination that a revised tentative subdivision map excluding the subject property was consistent with the originally approved map. So that's how the eastern portion of the subject parcel came to be rezoned from AR5 to RD5, but was never subdivided. At this time, the applicant is requesting a rezone of 2.04 acres from AR5 to RD5, a tentative subdivision map to divide the entire parcel into 27 single-family residential lots, and a design review to determine substantial compliance with the Sacramento County countywide design guidelines. In 2010, the board certified an environmental impact report with the adoption of the Florin Vineyard Community Plan. For the current request, an addendum to that EIR was prepared. The addendum concluded that No substantial changes are proposed, which would require major revisions of the previous EIR. No substantial changes have occurred with respect to the circumstances under which the project is undertaken. There is no new information of substantial importance, which was not known and could not have been known with the exercise of due diligence at the time the EIR was certified, and only minor technical changes or additions are necessary in order to deem the adopted environmental document adequate. Here you can see the proposed rezone, with the western portion of the site being converted from AR5, as you can see on the left there, to the entire site being RD5, as you can see on the right there. This would make the zoning consistent across the entire project site. And here you can see the proposed tentative subdivision map, which would divide the entire parcel into 27 single-family residential lots, ranging in size from about 5,500 square feet to 9,600 square feet. Primary vehicular access to the proposed subdivision would be provided via Gardner Avenue on the west there, which would be improved on the east side project frontage based on a 42-foot Parkway 1 road section. This includes 2 travel lanes, a bike lane, a 7-foot wide landscape corridor, and a separated 6-foot wide sidewalk. Internal streets are designed to match with surrounding streets currently under construction by the Gardner Park project. Off-site improvements include installation of a signalized intersection at Florin Road and Gardner Avenue about a quarter mile to the north. The project does not propose any major drainage facilities on site. Drainage would be conveyed to the Gardner Park and Gerber Creek drainage infrastructure systems, which are part of the larger Florin Vineyard Community Master Drainage Plan. Low-impact development features would be provided on each private residential lot. The project was considered by several advisory bodies. The Design Review Advisory Committee met on January 9th and recommends the board find the project in substantial compliance with the design guidelines. The South Sacramento Community Planning Advisory Council met on December 18th, 2024, and recommends the Board of Supervisors approve the requested entitlements. And most recently, the Planning Commission met on December 8th of last year, 2025, and recommends the board approve the requested entitlements. The project is consistent with the general plan and Florin Vineyard Community Plan, as well as all zoning code standards. It's generally contextually appropriate with the surrounding development. For these reasons, at this time, staff recommends the board take the following actions. Determine that the environmental analysis prepared pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act is adequate and complete. Adopt the mitigation monitoring and reporting program. Adopt an ordinance authorizing a rezone of 2.04 acres from AR5 to RD5, approve the tentative subdivision map, and find the project in substantial compliance with the design guidelines, subject to findings and conditions.
Thank you for the presentation. I don't have any supervisors in the queue. Any requests to speak on this item?
None.
Okay.
Move staff recommendation.
Second.
All right, please vote.
Thank you, supervisors.
Thank you.
And item 20 passes unanimously 5-0.
Okay, will the clerk please call the next item?
All right. So next on our agenda is item 22, which is county executive comments.
Thank you, Todd. If I asked Metro Cable to put up a picture for me, that would be great. I have 2 quick announcements for you. Happy to announce that SAC DOT Principal Planner Mickey McDaniel has been named Member of the Year for her work in the Women's Transportation Seminars. Her recognition recognizes Mickey's leadership in encouraging more women to work in the transportation industry, an industry where women are fairly underrepresented. Right now, Mickey is leading a project focusing on safer pedestrian travel and improving access to seniors and members of the disability community. So congratulations to Mickey on this award. The second item I had for you really quickly is Sacramento International Airport. Sacramento International Airport partnered with a research group to conduct a survey of departing passengers. Passengers were asked to complete a survey of a variety of ways to measure their experience and satisfaction of their experience over at airports. This happened during the months of November and December of 2025, and with a 91% satisfaction score, winning SMF's Customer Experience Excellent Award for 2025, and that continues to show both the expertise that we have in our own and diversity we have in our own ranks and the great work that's being done, not only in airports, but also in Department of Transportation. So thank you.
Okay, next item, please.
Next item on the agenda is 23, supervisor comments, reports, and announcements.
All right, Supervisor Serna.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to thank David for what he just did in terms of acknowledging one of our professional staff in terms of their association activities and being recognized. And I would like to see more of that, quite frankly. We have some just incredible, dedicated public servants that belong to, a wide swath of professional organizations in their respective fields. And I think it'd be nice if, just as a matter of routine, I'm starting to think like, I'm going to be out of here, but it would be nice to be able to watch Channel 14 on occasion, perhaps in the years to come, and seeing our staff grow and be rightfully recognized. So I think having that as part of a standard part of our CEO comments would be very much welcomed by this supervisor.
Thank you, Supervisor Serna. On that note, if I could add one more
Yes.
thing. I know the 5 of you were at this event that we had last Friday, but maybe Dave can talk about the award that he just, and his organization won just recently on Friday from the North State BIA.
Sure. So Dave DeFonte, Deputy County Executive. We collectively were honored by the North State BIA for a Friend of Housing Award, which is fairly unique. Typically, it's given to an individual, commonly an elected official. I think there's actually a winner or maybe 2 on the dais here today. But the county was recognized and our staff was recognized for all the work we've done over the last few years to make building easier in the county and be the best place to build in the region. So it was quite the honor, and I appreciate everybody attending. So yeah, with that, just very happy to see that we are continuing to make progress and it's being recognized by those in the community.
And I would just add, well, Dave did stand up and take the award and in his humble nature attribute it to his staff, and which is very true. Without Dave's leadership, I don't think we could have gotten any sort of recognition. So I appreciate Dave's effort and also the team. He did a fantastic job.
And can I just, go ahead.
Absolutely, I thanked the board. I thanked Mr. Villanueva, and I thanked, most importantly, our staff.
So I just want to give a little feedback. In the past year and a couple months, one thing that I heard a very resounding message from people outside of here is the great changes that have taken with your leadership when it comes to permitting and getting projects processed through the system. And so there's a compliment that that I've been hearing for a long time. So congratulations, Supervisor Serna.
Thank you, Chair. Just to belabor the point here, and I'm very, very much proud to know that our collective professional staff have been acknowledged as friends of housing by the BIA. But I was the Chris Norum 30 years ago for the Bay Area equivalent as the Vice President of the Home Builders Association of Northern California. And I won't go into all the gory details, but we had massive growth wars at the time in the 9-county Bay Area, and we had all kinds of lawsuits and initiatives, really a lot of unfortunate friction between the home building industry and local government. And mind you, in the 9-county Bay Area, there's over 110 cities and counties, right? So, and I was thrust right in the middle of that. If we were to try and give away at the time a Friend of Housing Award, whether it be to staff or electeds, it would be radioactive. So it's really, I just wanted to reflect on that and say it's it's great to see and very comfortable at this point to understand that we have this great working partnership between the industry and this jurisdiction, so much so that we can be proud of the fact that we nurture that partnership between industry and government, and we don't have that friction that makes housing, trying to provide a critical element like shelter to the general public in this county as difficult as it might otherwise be. So I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in there.
Well, thank you. And if I may, it really is because of your board's leadership that we are here today. The resolution that you passed, your unanimous support for this, frankly, makes my job and our collective job a lot easier. So I am extremely appreciative of everything you've done to set us up for success. And I honestly believe we would not be where we are continuing to improve day to day without your leadership. So I really do appreciate it.
Supervisor Hume.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I want to echo the comments of my colleagues. This is not a normal occurrence for government to be recognized in this way from this group. And so I think it is a testament to the effort that's been underway. Thank you for referencing that resolution, because I think that is an important statement to acknowledge from those of us up here on the dais that it's okay to take those risks. It's okay to think differently. It's okay to break loose some of the cartilage that has built up because that's the way we've always done things, if there's a better way to do it. And I know that that culture change is taking place across the organization. So there are many folks in the trenches and in the cubicles and in the corner offices that don't have an opportunity to be recognized like this. And so I do appreciate when that does come, but I also acknowledge that there are other folks that are trying just as hard to do the best that they can do within the department that they have. And so that was one of the things I was most excited about when I got up onto this dais, was to learn that that effort started with your predecessor and that it continues with you. And I really do believe that a lot of that comes from the tenor that gets set up here on this dais, and having that collegial working relationship, that quiet environment, the professionalism that's displayed throughout the organization goes a long way. And so I just want to go back on record saying I still stand behind that resolution. I still stand behind empowering our employees to really want to wake up and come do the best job that they can do. So thank to each and every one of them in everything that they do. Thank you, and congratulations.
So this was not planned, but you just set me up for something that I want to share with with my colleagues. But first, I want to say that I just want to thank the Sheriff's Department HOT team for their outreach efforts near Walerga and Elkhorn Boulevard, and to the Antelope Business Community District Clean Team for their prompt cleanup that followed after some complaints. And then I want to give the best of luck to the Rio Linda High School Knights cheer team as they head to the USA Spirit Nationals in Anaheim for the first time. It's very exciting for them. And, Supervisor Hume, you just mentioned a lot of great things that we do, but we somehow just don't share that story enough. And so I believe that an annual State of the County is an important governance tool that I think we're currently missing. We are policymakers to a very large, complex organization, and while we are thoughtful decision makers through our regular process, we don't share a clear explanation of our priorities, progress, and challenges in one place. And that gap affects public understanding of how the county functions cohesively within and outside of the county partners. One thing that has been clear to me is that I get asked this all the time is, what does a county supervisor do? So a State of the County would be an opportunity to highlight all of the accomplishments from our departments, in addition to some of the challenges that we are facing on the horizon. I believe a State of the County would be board-owned, nonpartisan address that sets a clear reference point of the year ahead. I would like to resume the annual State of the County and work with our PIO, Kim Nava, to get the highlights, which she actually already sent me from information that she sends out. And but there are so many stories and so many great things that happen here at the county that we just don't share enough. And so I would like to proceed with this. It would be no cost to the county, with the exception of the PIO's time and some technical assistance on the day of the event. I believe that going forward, if we like this, that the chair can pick a host for and maybe a location in their district that they can highlight. Chair delivers a speech, and I think it would be beneficial to spend 4 to 6 minutes for each supervisor to share just some really big highlights in their districts. And, just recently, District 1, I had a meeting with someone and shared some really exciting news about the stadium that is coming that is just going to be an economic driver for District 1. And so we do have a tentative date and location, Thursday, April 9th from 11 to 1. It would be lunch. It would be just 11 o'clock, 11:30 lunch, till 12, and then from 12 to 1, it would be delivering a state of the county. Is there anyone that sees a downside to piloting this for 1 year and evaluating it together?
I'm in the queue.
Yes, okay. Supervisor Cerna.
Thank you, Chair. I think it's a great idea, and I certainly can hearken back to when we had full-blown states of the county. The part about at minimal or no cost, I wonder out loud about, because they were fairly big productions. They were typically involved renting out a pretty sizable space. I believe the last time we really had a dedicated State of the County, we were holding them down at the Sheraton, I believe, in downtown Sacramento, and that was a whole ballroom. So I'm not sure what the current chair envisions, but in the past, there have been pretty substantial costs with doing it. We also would pay to have a keynote speaker. Obviously, the refreshments, lunch served, all that comes at some cost. I'm not beating up the idea based on the cost necessarily, but let's be, moving forward, let's be transparent about what those costs would be. A question, though, for David. Did the previous State of the County routine, did that morph over the course of maybe a couple chairmanships into the retreats? I think they did. I think that's what happened. And the retreats turned into a very subject matter specific, kind of intentional convening hosted by the chair, and it was kind of the chair working with the CEO's office to develop what the agenda would be. So I'm just wondering whether or not the current chair, Chair Rodriguez, envisions returning to State of the County to replace the retreat, or would there be a State of the County in the spring and a retreat at the end of the year? Those are some of the things that come to mind here.
I'm not sure how
I can answer that. Can I just answer both those? So the host would be a Chamber of Commerce, which will allow one of our chambers in our districts to be able to do fundraising for them. They would handle the sponsorships, they would handle tickets, and they would also handle the catering. So it would be no cost to the county. As far as a State of the County and a retreat, I personally don't see why we can't have both. One of the things that has been very sort of exciting about the retreat is that you take a specific, something within the county that's specific to be able to delve down into it. I don't think it has to be an all-day thing, but it can be, morning session type of event that allows us to really address or talk about in further detail a topic that is important to the chair at the time. Supervisor Desmond?
Thank you. Well, thank you for proposing this, because I have for some time felt that it would be appropriate for us to do a State of the County, and I think we should talk about some of the details. I do think there's going to be a cost, and I think we should do it right. I mean, I think maybe we stopped doing it because of budgetary concerns, but look, we're the largest local government in Northern California. We are urban county, 8th most populous county, and we do more provide more urban services, frankly, than the city of Sacramento. And I think we have to highlight that, not only our social services role, but our municipal services role, like what we've been talking about today with our land use role and being a friend of housing. So I'm very supportive of it. But I also don't think we should, I'm very sensitive to the cost, especially in this climate that we're facing right now. But I also don't want to do something that is, kind of small time. I want to do something that's reflective of the importance of Sacramento County and reflective of the complexity and the profound impact we have on people's lives throughout the county. So.
Yeah, one of the conversations with the Folsom Chamber of Commerce, who would be the host, is definitely locations is always one of the challenges because we don't have very many big spots. But there is a location we have that could fit 300, or maybe a little more than that. So, Supervisor Hume.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, it's not codified or sanctioned, but I do a State of the County for the Elk Grove Chamber every year where I allow them to use my likeness and advertise that I will be speaking and providing at least an update on what I'm doing.
Is there a bobblehead involved?
No bobbleheads and no lucrative contracts, but I certainly support the effort and the idea of it, and I think location, and the one thing that I would want to do is make sure that all chambers, feel that is available to them, particularly our ethnic chambers and others that maybe don't represent a geographical area, but do represent a demography, if that's a word. But anyway, I'm in support of the idea of it, but I would just caution that even when you say there is no cost to the county, the expectation is that staff will attend and show their support, and so that is not a bottom line cost, but it is a workload cost. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. And that is it. So we will now adjourn the Board of Supervisors meeting at 10:54.
And we have closed session.
And we will be off to closed session, adjourned to closed session.